Hey, today is story time with Pop. How about that? Today I just thought about, I was thinking about vacations, how we used to take vacations in the 70s, And I remember one of my first memories was my dad had a truck from work, like a work truck. They had like the aluminum camper top on it. And my dad had built a plywood piece there between the fender wells there. I, and I think he just left it there all the time for just work. So it was all framed out and everything. So we got to ride there. Back then you could ride in the back of a truck, and then I guess they thought that was like a roll bar or something. That great aluminum camper that's going to save you. But yeah, we laid up in there, and I remember we had those little crank out windows on the camper. You just roll them down, roll them down, roll them down. Kind of come out. Had a little screen on them, and anyway, yeah, we were comfortable back there though. We had our snacks and the whole bit, and Dad would open the back window whenever he needed a cruise light, so or a cruise. He didn't no cruise light. Uh, this was the '70s, so bear with me on that. But yeah, like I said, it was was a pretty good family trip. We usually, if we went on a trip when I was that age, it was we would go to Six Flags, or we would go to our grandparents or something like that, and we'd ride in the back like that. Uh, I think my mother had a car at the time, but it was kind of small. She always had small cars. So yeah, that probably wouldn't have been a good idea to travel in. But yeah, that truck, like I said, we rode in the back of it several trips, several trips. Um, I think about oh, I was thinking about this too. Like nowadays we have all these fast food places everywhere, and I remember fast food places, but uh, we probably count them on one hand. I was a kid, so I can't remember. I know my mom and dad didn't take us that often to eat fast food at the time, like especially if you're on the road or something. Uh, we were on the road. We had a picnic basket and a cooler in there, for lunch meat or whatever it might be. Sometimes Dad would stop and get some summer sausage on one of these trips, and he liked to take that summer sausage and cheese, cracker or whatever, and snack on that. It used to be this old, I guess it was a wine and beer store out on the Interstate 20. It was, I want to say it was just about to Tyler, but my parents would stop there every time, especially if we were going to our grandparents. They would get some stuff on the way. But I do remember that. But like I said, when we stopped, uh, you just stopped in a rest stop on the side of the road, had a picnic table. Usually they had a nice little cover on them. I remember the ones on 20 looked like a little old Derek on top of them. They were kind of cool. And I think they're still there last time I went through there. Anyway, here I am sidetracking on that. But yeah, so we would eat whatever we had right there on the side of the road. We weren't going out to eat. It might have just been a my dad thing, hey, but it just wasn't, I just don't think it was as popular yet, But, yeah, I was just got to thinking about that. And then I remember he got another work car, and it was a car this time. It was I think it was I keep wanting to say it's a 77 LTD station wagon, one of those big ones, And it was kind of that yellow puke green color, and then the inside was that dark avocado green. I mean, it was really dark, and I I still remember it was an ugly car, but we really thought we were uptown. We were taking a trip in that car, and we got to fold all the seats down, and we had air conditioning. We could lay back there, with our sleeping bags and our snacks and pass out. Probably missed half the trip. We missed everything on the road because we were sleeping. And I just remember several times going to, let's see, went down to New Orleans and been down to Florida, but I remember we used to go to Galveston's where we used to go a lot. And there was an old hotel, which newer hotel then, the flagship. It's right there on the bay, it's right there on the ocean. So it was pretty cool. It's built right over the top of the, stilts, right over the ocean. Anyway, like I said, and we used to, one of the things I used to do when we were kids, my sister was 3 years behind me, and we went, and we always liked to go there because we could throw bread out to the seagulls from our room, because it was either a sliding door or a little balcony or something. But I just remember they would just float, all in front of it. You throw the bread up to them, and they would really attack your little ports there. They liked that bread, I guess. But I just remember we really enjoyed that. I'm sure we're not supposed to be doing that. But, yeah, I remember, I think it was that same trip, or one of the times we went down there. This girl was, between the sand dune and the beach. And we were on the little sand dune that was out there walking around trying to find shells. It wasn't very, very deep or anything. But this girl was laying on a raft, how she kind of had her leg down. And we heard her blood curdling scream, going on. We're like, what was that? And I looked over, and they're trying to carry her, and her heel is just gone. I mean, her heel, it was just meat. It was awful. But what had happened was a shark came through there. And it was one of the, I think they called it a sand shark, but I was a little kid, so, I want to say it was a sand shark. But basically, it took her heel with it. And we were on top of the sand dune, so we kind of were like trapped between there and the shore. But my dad picked us up, and we headed on. We were on the beach in quite a fast way. He probably walked on top of some water that day or ran on it. He was getting out. But I remember seeing the little fin sticking out of the water. So that's pretty crazy. Just one of those things I just remember. I'm sure everybody's got memories of weird stuff like that. And the one that really gets me too, I was thinking about that LTD. We went, I want to say it was the last trip we went down there. The LTD, they had the big doors, huge doors. And I don't know, I was probably 10, somewhere around there. I was probably younger than that when I think about it. Anyway, my hand got hung on that door, so I don't know if I just didn't get it out fast enough. My dad slammed the door, and my little fingers, they were mashed. I thought they were going to stay like that. It was awful, because it was stuck in that door, and I was screaming. It's funny how you remember that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're like, how do I even remember that? But I guess it's, something awful happened to you, so, that was, but I talked to a lot of people about those old doors, because, they would get you, because they were huge, and you had to give it a good shove, to shove some of the doors closed on those big cars. I remember, though, the big cars like that, they just rode like a dream, like floating down the highway. I wished I still had one of those big old cars like that. They were kind of fun. Well, guys, that's all for today. I just thought I'd give you a little story on traveling in the 70s. If any of you guys got some funny stories about traveling, please comment. I'd love to hear them. Love to read them. And please like and subscribe if you get time to do that before you get off here. I sure appreciate that. And I thank you.